I grow up so fast. Ramalama ding dong, my holiday bitches. This is your in-ring rundown, and I am the NAKK Double G. It's AEW's Dynamite here on TNT, and we're coming to you live from Champ Pagna. Ah, yes, here's the correct spelling. A little bit of the bubbly Illinois. Starting off with a 6-man tag team match involving members of a certain party that you may be familiar with. No, not a private party, but a super kick party, in which if it involved just about anyone else, I'd be more than excited to actually join. But before that match can start, you better forget everything you've ever known. Pyros? Pfft, smoke? Bailey buddies? Nothing but weaklings that do not compare to these confetti guns, which are apparently so powerful that they take out any chance of AEW having good sound quality tonight.
At a combined weight of 390 pounds.
Dustin Rhodes joins the Young Bucks, who according to Jim Ross is a young man himself, because yes, 48 and covered in paint is the new 26. And then we see that it really does not take much to impress Tony Schiavone.
They are one of the most dynamic and vicious tag teams that we've seen break into pro wrestling for a long time. Look at this. Baseballs in that sock.
Wait. 3 baseballs in 1 sock? You can do that? I mean, my God, that has so many uses. No other human in the history of time has ever put a baseball in a sock. Fuck, man. We're then treated to a highly contested and high-paced matchup that is only slightly offset by the fact that the AEW's commentator volume is about 5% of what it should be. Luckily, it cuts back in as Jim Ross seems to be having trouble. Remember where Bond, the sin of greed, lost the love of his life.
The string of life or something.
Ruby Rose attempts to do a shooting star selfie press on what appears to be literally no one, but pays the price for his or her narcissism, paying for it with a slightly over-choreographed senton pile driver and a loss to the Dusty Buck. Next up is a man who isn't quite so worried that he isn't the man that he says he is, but that he's not quite so sure that the man he says he is actually named Trent. Regardless, he's in a singles match against one of the fastest moving and athletically gifted men you'll see on the roster, Rey Fenix. All over the ring with moves that have more animation than actually is needed, confusing the already confused, I don't know, maybe his name is Timmy or something. They go on to have a match so dynamic that Tony Schiavone only has this to say.
What the hell?
Phoenix then activates her X Factor and then wins with the Muscle Buster. It's time for Cody, but not just any Cody, business suit Cody. And suit up! Dude, look, can't you tell? Interviewed by Tony and telling the world that he's absolutely sure he will never challenge for the AEW World Championship ever again. And then immediately saying that he does not deal in absolutes, trying to get the refusing MJF to pick a fight with him. Even attempting to strip and throw Seta Kaiba's briefcase at him just to get his attention. Cody then interrupts his own promo to pay tribute to his favorite wrestler of all time, Razor Ramon.
But I was not naive to the fact that you're a bad guy, but you were my bad guy.
Cody tries to end the segment by proving to everyone that this money is real, handing it to a small child in the crowd. What they don't know is that later that boy that night was arrested, claiming that the $100 bill had a note on it with a transcript reading, "Quick, small boy, go and buy a gun while we still have MJF in the building. You can keep the change." Hey Moxley, man, what's your favorite thing to eat for dinner?
Kids.
Apparently, this obese man is willing to give up any connections to his job, his family, or any past life in general just for the chance to have some friends. Of course, the putties respond pleasantly. Did they literally just shred a fat man to death with their bare hands? Coming up next, it's the female Jiren versus the Super Saiyan Blue Librarian. But unfortunately for that well-read combatant, this is still episode 109 and Super Saiyan Blue is just not enough to compete yet, being tossed left and right before a sex offender tries to enter the ring. Luckily for us, Jiren gives him the look and eliminates him quickly, as well as that filthy monkey with a beast bomb. After the match, where literally the most exciting part of this segment takes place, a fighter with a name nearly as generic as she may appear. Her name, Shauna. Her purpose, to be powerbombed to this table next to the ref. Someone want to explain to me what that was during the commercial? Hide your wives and daughters, because Le Champion is gracing us all with his presence here, joined by the entire band of Maroon 5. Jericho begins the promo by telling us all what he thinks about the owner of AEW.
Who the hell is Tony?
Chris complains that he must defend his title at least one more time during this decade, at the same time revealing the new list of the Lexicon of Le Champion. Excuse me. No, this is not a list. Certainly not the list of Jericho. It's completely different. Can't you see how much more evolved this idea is? A man with a master's degree wearing a dinosaur mask appears alongside his adopted children to confront Jericho, saying he's sick and tired of being marginalized for over 65 million years, which is coincidentally only slightly longer than Cesaro. Jericho agrees to Jungle Boy's challenge and then ends the segment by saying the same thing that about 95% of us said about 3 hours after they bought 2K20.
I think you're a piece of shit.
Next up is a rather impressive women's division match between Chris Stratlander. Seriously? That's the name they went with? Okay. The newcomer versus Sharonia. They go back and forth in a heated match where the number one contender suffers the theme of the night. That being, every match must end with a pile driver, receiving an upset loss from the new kid on the block. There's only about 8 different million reasons why the lights might go out, but unfortunately this time it's DK's stunt double and Brandy, she really does talk a lot Rhodes. They try to get Chris to join the Nightmare Collective, an extension of the Nightmare family that honestly sounds like a shitty off-brand version of the Addams family. And Chris seems uninterested, but that doesn't matter because here's off-brand bargain bin Tamina in the crowd to yell like a psychotic woman. She's just a random fan in the crowd screaming like a lunatic that wants to join, so naturally the security guards just let her right in. Let her right into the ring to have her head somewhat shaved during the commercial. Oh, sure. It's a singles match between Pentagon Jr. and a man who lives up to his fallen angel persona to a T.
And now Christopher Daniels.
Chris decides that his singing career is much more important and tries to bring his one true love into the ring near the end of the match, the mic stand. But he pays for his misfocus, taking another pile driver from Pentagon for the win. Pile driver is really the new super kick, isn't it? The Bunny, the Blade, and the Butcher are all here to cut the head off that snake. And you were wondering why Randy Orton stayed in WWE. It's main event time, so shout at the devil with Joey Janela versus... a man so beloved that they cut to commercial just before he has a chance to say the F word on camera again. Moxley throws Janela into the air with a never-before-seen suplex throw. What amazing name could these paid professionals have to try to describe it?
What do you call that? That's the El Flippo in the arrow.
For what it's worth, I am for hire. This back and forth match is going smoothly until the unthinkable happens.
The damn Tope Suicida, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, JR, I know you hate the Tope D Super Cena, but do you understand what a clip segue means? You're supposed to let me set up the line first. Moxley ends the match when he decides to try to kill the lead singer of Motley Crue with a paradigm shift onto the top of the turnbuckle and then onto the ring. Before the show ends, though, Jericho's music hits so he can stare menacingly from the crowd. But his old age seems to be getting to him at this point, so he just decides to stand there until the TV time runs out. Well, that's it for this week's rundown. I want to thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and leave me a comment or a question below. It really does help. And then throw this at one of your wrestling buddies until they just accept it. I may have to skip a week or two just because I'll be out of town with a job training, but I'll do my best to try to squeeze in an episode if I can. I'll definitely have at least one more episode during the year and a couple surprises as well, so stay tuned. And of course, a shout out to all my patrons. It's almost Christmas time, bitches, so you know, give me $1. Come on. Yeah, this has been the man from Earth with all the girth. Be the character you know you're worth. Leave me alone, man. I just want to play some games. It's AEW's Dynamite here on TVT. Phoenix then activates the Phoenix then even attempting to both strip and throw. Next up is a rather impression. Next up is let her right into the ring. What they don't know is that later that boy that night was arrested.